Whenever beginning any reloading operation, it's a good idea to start out with safety glasses. Even when cleaning a new set of dies, we will be working with aerosols that can get into your eye, so please take your safety very seriously. The next step is to install the shell plate. Now the shell plate comes packaged plastic. Go ahead and take that off, and I'll show you all the parts of the shell plate real quick. There's a top, which is marked with the shell plate number. You can also see two ball detents, the back side of them. You flip it over, you've got the retainer spring recess around the bottom of the shell plate, and then you'll see the actual balls, the ball part of the ball detent on the bottom of the shell, or the shell plate. The retainer spring groove, and the other thing to make a note of is this keyway. That's where the drive hub engages the shell plate and what causes it to turn with the auto indexing. We'll set this out of the way. The press will come with the shell plate retainer and retainer bolt installed, and the ejector wire in the groove on the shell plate retainer. First thing to do is go ahead and move the ejector wire out of the way. The ejector wire pivots into the subplate back at this point. Just lift it up out of the way, being careful not to bend it. If it feels like you're forcing anything, stop and check everything out and make sure nothing's in a bind. Should never feel like you're forcing anything. We'll remove the retainer bolt and the retainer from the drive hub. Take the shell plate, and this is the time where you want to apply a little bit of grease to each one of the ball detents. Axle grease, unique case lube works well, and it doesn't take much, just a little bit to keep those ball detents lubricated. Next thing, you can see the keyway on the drive hub. We want to line up the keyway with the shell plate, just like that. You can feel the ball detents lock in. You're going to take the retainer and the retainer bolt, set the retainer on. When you set the retainer on, make sure that the smaller diameter is down, larger diameter is facing up. So it'll go on just like that, and that is where the ejector wire rides. We'll set that down, put the retainer bolt through. We're going to get that finger tight, and then we're going to give it just a little extra with the 9/16. The best way to tell when you're giving it enough is feel with the 9/16 about the point where it breaks out of the ball detent and starts turning. That's about all you need to give it with the wrench. Next step is to put the retainer spring on. The retainer spring fits in the groove on the bottom side of the shell plate. Let's go ahead and start it in, stretch it around the outside of the shell plate, and you have to make sure that the ejector wire is out of the way to install and remove the retainer spring. As you can see, it gets captured down here. So you want to make sure that the ejector wire is out of the way anytime you install or remove the retainer spring. That's the installation of the shell plate. Removing the shell plate or changing to another shell plate for a different cartridge is as simple as reversing the process.